biomolecules. Biomolecules. From this topic, 2 questions are mandatory. In every exam, if you look at that, 2 questions appear, including the enzymes. Biomolecules means it includes enzymes also. It's a part of biomolecules. So 2 questions means it is a very important topic. And moreover, these are related to different topics also regarding the cofactors, coenzymes. Like that, when you compare, this is a very important topic, right? So I hope you have an idea, but I will tell you the important points related to biomolecules. So biomolecules, including enzymes. Enzymes are also biomolecules. What are biomolecules? All the carbon compounds that we get from a living tissue are known as biomolecules. Based on molecular weight, these are divided into 2 types, namely biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules. Biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules. If the molecular weight is less than 1000 Daltons or strictly between 18 to 800, they are called biomicromolecules. If the molecular weight is greater than 10,000 Daltons, then it is called biomacromolecule. Okay. All the compounds, all the carbon containing compounds that we get from a living tissue are called biomolecules. Biomolecules are divided into 2 types, biomacromolecules, biomicromolecules. The biomolecules whose molecular weight is less than 1000 Dalton are called biomicro. The biomolecules whose molecular weight is greater than 10,000, it is called biomacromolecules, right? Then, is all the elements present in the living organisms and non-living matter are same or different? Same. The type of elements and compounds present in non-living matter and living things are found to be the same, but the difference is relative abundance. That means some elements and compounds are more in living matter and less in the non-living earth crust, and vice versa. For example, CHONS, chance. CHONS. These 5 elements are present in both human body and also earth crust. But the difference is relative abundance. These 5 elements are present more in the human body than in the earth crust. That's all. Then, chemical analysis is conducted to separate organic compounds from a living tissue. Ash analysis is conducted to separate inorganic elements and inorganic compounds. During chemical analysis of organic compounds, 2 fractions are separated. One is acid soluble pool, another is acid insoluble pool. The scientists were found that in the acid soluble pool, thousands of organic compounds are present, but in the acid insoluble pool or acid insoluble fraction, only 4 types of compounds are present. They are proteins or polypeptides, polysaccharides, then nucleic acids and lipids. These are the 4 types of molecules or compounds found in acid insoluble pool. But lipids are strictly micromolecules but collected along with the acid insoluble fraction. That means these 3 are truly speaking, they are macromolecular fraction present in acid insoluble pool. Right? Then here, what are micromolecules? What are macromolecules? For example, amino acids, lipids, monosaccharides, nucleotides are example for biomicromolecules. Proteins, polysaccharides, nucleic acids are example for biomacromolecules. Biomicromolecules are amino acids, lipids, monosaccharides, nucleotides. So we make it clear first. Then amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. How many amino acids are there? More than 700 are there. But how many amino acids can form proteins? Only 20 types. 20 types of amino acids can form proteins, and all these are alpha amino acids. Which amino acids can form proteins? Alpha amino acids can form proteins. Clear? Now, in amino acids, you should have an idea regarding structure of amino acid, structures of glycine, alanine, serine. Which is the simplest amino acid? Glycine. Similarly, example for acidic amino acids, example for basic amino acids, example for neutral amino acids, you have to remember. And finally, amino acids can form Zwitter ion. What is a Zwitter ion? The structure of amino acid which contain both positive charge and negative charge are called, that means the net charge will be 0, is called Zwitter ion, Zwitter ionic form of amino acid. Like that, you try to remember those. Then lipids. Lipids are micromolecules but collected along with macromolecules. Lipids are water insoluble compounds, and lipids are divided into 3 types: simple fatty acids, glycerol, and glycerides. These are the lipids. Simple fatty acid, RCOOH, the maximum number of carbons including carboxyl carbon is 20 in fatty acids. Palmitic acid contains 16 carbons including carboxyl carbon. Arachidonic acid contain 20 carbons including carboxyl carbon. So try to remember. Example for simple fatty acids: palmitic acid, stearic acid, arachidonic acid, etc. Next, trihydroxypropane is called glycerol. When glycerol esterified with fatty acids, it forms glycerides. The glycerides are monoglyceride, diglyceride, triglyceride. They are the glycerides. And what lipid is present in the cell membrane? Phospholipid or phosphoglyceride. There are several phospholipids. Example, lecithin. Lecithin is a phospholipid present in the cell membrane or plasma membrane. That area you have to concentrate. Then, here very important is secondary metabolites. You know, there is a primary metabolism, secondary metabolism. In all living cells, there is a primary metabolism. During that process, primary metabolites are produced. But in some organisms like plants, microbes and fungi, secondary metabolism occurs and secondary metabolites are also produced, and they have several uses for human beings. And this area is very important in NEET. For example, heparin and ricin are toxins. Vinblastine, curcumin are drugs. Morphine and codeine are alkaloids. Try to remember those. Concanavalin A is a lectin, a protein. Lemongrass oil is an essential oil. Cellulose, rubber, gums are example for polymeric substances. That table is very important. Frequently questions appear from that table. That is very important. Similarly, the most abundant compound in the cell, water, 70 to 90%. The most abundant organic compound, protein, 10 to 15%. Percentage of nucleic acid, 5 to 7%. So you remember all these. Then you come to proteins. Proteins are macromolecules. Their molecular weight is greater than 10,000 Daltons. They are collected in the macromolecular fraction, that is in the acid insoluble pool. All proteins are heteropolymers. Amino acids are building blocks of proteins. Amino acids are linked by means of peptide bonds. As several peptide bonds are present, proteins are also called polypeptides. And several proteins perform several functions. Some act as enzymes, some act as hormones, some act as pigments. Like that, there are several. Here, there are very important bits are there. The most abundant protein in the whole universe, rubisco. The most abundant protein in the animal world, collagen. The most abundant protein in the animal world, collagen. What structure for collagen was proposed by G.N. Ramachandran? Triple helical structure of collagen. Triple helical structure of collagen was proposed by G.N. Ramachandran. And similarly, you know, intercellular ground substance is formed by collagen. And similarly, GLUT4 is a protein. GLUT4, G-L-U-T, GLUT4 enables glucose transport into the cells. This is also a protein. Like that, proteins perform several functions. And proteins are having four structures: primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. Any protein which is functional, it must have tertiary structure. Which structure gives positional information? Primary structure. For example, see here, adult human hemoglobin shows, adult human hemoglobin shows quaternary structure. Quaternary structure. Because hemoglobin is having 4 polypeptides. A protein having more than one polypeptide only shows quaternary structure. It is having 4 polypeptides, of which 2 are alpha type and 2 are beta type. This is very important. Human hemoglobin shows quaternary structure. Quaternary structure. It contains 4 polypeptides. 2 are alpha type, 2 are beta type. That's all. Next. Polysaccharides. These are also biomacromolecules. Its molecular weight is more than 10,000. These are also collected in acid insoluble fraction. And these are made up of its monomers called monosaccharides. These are made up of monomers are called monosaccharides. Several monosaccharides link by means of glycosidic bond with the liberation of water molecule, that is dehydration, form the polysaccharide. And some polysaccharides are homo and some are hetero. So that means polysaccharides are divided into 2 types, namely homopolysaccharides, heteropolysaccharides. Heteropolysaccharides. A polysaccharide which is made up of only one type of monosaccharides repeatedly, then it is called homopolysaccharide. Example, inulin, not insulin, it is inulin, type of food stored in dahlia roots, is a polymer of fructose. Inulin is a polymer of fructose. Similarly, glycogen, animal starch. Starch present in plant cells as reserve food material. And also cellulose, all are example for homopolysaccharides. Chitin, present in the cell wall of fungi and also exoskeleton of arthropoda insects, is a complex homopolysaccharide made up of N-acetyl glucosamine. All these are polysaccharide, homopolysaccharides. Peptidoglycan, present in the cell wall of bacteria. Hemicellulose, present in the cell wall of plants, is an example for heteropolysaccharide. I think you understand, right? So try to remember. Then nucleic acids are also macromolecules. Their molecular weight is greater than 10,000. They are also collected in the macromolecular fraction. And there are 2 types of nucleic acids, DNA, RNA. The nucleic acids are polymers of nucleotides. Therefore, the monomer of nucleic acid is nucleotide. Several nucleotides polymerized and form polynucleotides. In DNA, 2 nucleotide strands are present. In the DNA, the 2 nitrogen bases are linked by means of hydrogen bonds. And the nitrogen base is linked to deoxyribose sugar by means of glycosidic bond. Now the sugar linked with phosphate by means of phosphodiester bonds. So 3 types of bonds are there. Between nitrogen bases, hydrogen bond. Between nitrogen base and pentose sugar, glycosidic bond. Between deoxyribose sugar and phosphate, phosphodiester bond, that is PDBs, are present. Okay, that is very important. And the double helix model of DNA was proposed by Watson and Crick. You know that double helix model of DNA was proposed by Watson and Crick. For which DNA? bDNA. bDNA is the most stable DNA, common DNA. So like that, you should remember those points. And lastly, you know, living state is a non-equilibrium steady state. Living state is a non-equilibrium steady state. all the reactions in a cell are catalyzed by enzymes. Enzyme catalyzed reactions. Now, we will discuss about some important points related to enzymes. Okay. All enzymes are proteins. False. Almost all enzymes are proteins. True. Because we know recently that some nucleic acids such as RNA act as enzymes. Such RNA enzymes are called as ribozymes. Example, 23S rRNA. This is very important. Nucleic acids are also act as enzymes. Such enzymes are called ribozymes. The best example for ribozyme is 23S rRNA. That's all. And then, what is the action of enzyme? How they act? First, enzyme is having, active sites. Active sites are formed in the tertiary structure. So in order to functional any enzyme, it must have a tertiary structure. Combines with substrate first. Then enzyme substrate complex is formed. That is a transient structure, loosely bound structure. Then it is converted into enzyme product. Immediately it break into enzyme plus product. This is the equation of action of the enzyme. Then I told you enzyme are active at minute quantities. Enzymes are not used up in the reaction. Enzyme does not alter the equilibrium. Enzymes generally speed up the rate of reaction or decrease the rate of the reaction, but usually they speed up the rate of the reaction. All living reactions are controlled by enzymes. In the absence of enzyme, the reaction is very slow. For example, carbon dioxide combines with water and form carbonic acid. In the absence of enzyme, only 200 molecules are produced per 1 hour. If you add an enzyme called carbonic anhydrase enzyme, the molecules formed is 6 lakhs per second. 6 lakhs per second. How credible the enzyme action is, just imagine. So because of the addition of this enzyme, the rate of reaction is tremendously increased. That is 6 lakhs times per second. That means enzyme role is incredible. Right. Then the effect of pH, temperature, substrate concentration on enzyme activity. When a graph is drawn by taking pH on x-axis, enzyme activity on y-axis, you will get a bell-shaped curve. Similarly, when temperature is taken on x-axis and enzyme activity on y-axis, similar curve is obtained. These two are very important and recently appeared in examination. Effect of pH on enzyme activity, effect of temperature on enzyme activity. Try to remember. A bell-shaped curves are obtained, indicating that enzymes are active at optimum temperature and optimum pH. And what is Km value? You know very well, when enzyme activity increases, the rate of the reaction increases and velocity reaches to maximum, that is called Vmax. And the substrate concentration at which the rate of the reaction becomes half, this is called Vmax by 2. This is called Km value or Michaelis-Menten constant. Km value and affinity of the enzyme are inversely proportional. Enzyme as having more Km value, low affinity with the enzyme. That is remember. And then if any chemical substance bind to the enzyme, its activity decreases. These are called inhibitors. There are three types of inhibitors. One is competitive inhibitor. Second one, non-competitive inhibitors. Third one, allosteric inhibitors. And the most common one, competitive inhibitor. If any inhibitor or a chemical substance binds to the active site and decreases the enzyme activity, then it is called competitive inhibitor. Here we should remember malonic acid or malonate act as a competitive inhibitor for succinic dehydrogenase. Malonate is a competitive inhibitor for succinic dehydrogenase because succinic acid actually binds to the succinic dehydrogenase, but malonic acid resembling succinic acid, instead of succinic acid, malonic acid binds and thereby decreases the enzyme activity. Lastly, enzymes are divided into 6 classes. Each class is divided into subclasses of 4 to 13 subclasses are there in the class. There are 6 classes. I told you one equation, owners of 2 houses living in London. From that you can derive 6. First class, oxidoreductases. Second class, transferases. Third class, hydrolases. Fourth class, lyases. Fifth class, isomerases. And sixth class, ligases or synthetases. So you have to remember, and you have to remember the equation for each one and some examples as well. And lastly, cofactors. Cofactors. You know, some enzymes are made up of only proteins. They are called simple enzymes. But some enzymes contain non-proteins along with proteins. Such enzymes are called holoenzymes. Holoenzymes. Holoenzyme is equal to protein part called apoenzyme, non-protein part called cofactor. Therefore, apoenzyme plus cofactor is equal to holoenzyme. An enzyme which is made up of both protein part and non-protein part are called holoenzymes. And the protein part of the enzyme is called apoenzyme. The non-protein part is called as cofactor. Cofactors are divided into 3 types. Prosthetic groups, coenzymes, and metal ion cofactors. Metal ion cofactors. Prosthetic group, coenzymes, and metal ion cofactors. You know, several metal ions bind to the active site by means of coordination bonds and increases the activity. For example, Mg2+, activator for Rubisco, activator for pepcase. Zinc, Zn+, act as a activator for alcohol dehydrogenase, like that. Then what is the difference between prosthetic group and coenzyme? The organic molecule bind tightly to the apoenzyme. The organic molecule bind tightly to the apoenzyme is called prosthetic group. For example, heme moiety in peroxidase and catalase are example for prosthetic groups. Heme group in peroxidase and catalase are example for prosthetic group. If it is tightly bind to the apoenzyme, it is prosthetic group. Lastly, coenzyme. Coenzymes are also organic molecules. They bind loosely to the apoenzyme. Whenever the reaction proceeds, they will bind. After reaction is over, they are separated. And such molecules are called coenzymes. Coenzymes are cofactors but loosely bind to the apoenzyme. And these coenzymes are mostly derivatives of vitamins. Very important bit. Coenzymes are derivatives of vitamins. For example, NADP, one coenzyme. NAD, another coenzyme. These coenzymes are cofactors, bind loosely, and these coenzymes such as NAD, NADP are derived from vitamin niacin or nicotinic acid. So I told you that coenzymes are mostly derived from vitamins. For example, NAD, NADP are derived from vitamin niacin or nicotinic acid. So that is about the important points regarding the biomolecules. I hope you understood, and you will read even the other points as well, so that you can answer whatever the question that is appear in the examination. So that's all today, and continue in the next class. Thank you one and all.